A lovely weather out there. Good afternoon. Welcome to Africa Today. I am Uduak Daniel. First, let's talk the headlines. And on the headlines, reps seek ban on alcoholic consumption by police. Still on the headlines, Ghana's fashion enthusiasts give fresh life to Western clothing waste. Also on the headlines, South Sudan announces deployment of soldiers to Eastern DRC. And on sports, clubs boycott a breached NPFL. And now the news in detail. The House of Representatives has called for a ban on police officers from consuming alcohol and other hard substances capable of inhibiting their sense of reasoning. The lawmakers also condemned the killing of a member of the Nigeria Bar Association, that is the NBA, Bolanle Rahim, who was shot in Lagos by a police officer on Christmas Day. This resolution was a sequel to the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance raised by Babajide Obanikoro, representing APC Lagos, at plenary on Wednesday in Abuja. Moving the motion, Obanikoro lamented that on the fateful day, without any altercation, one of the officers shot Mrs. Rahim, who was 7 months pregnant with twins, on the spot.
This type of occurrence happens often across Nigeria, and that the officers usually get away with shooting and killing same innocent citizens they swore to protect.
Recall that a similar incident happened on 7th December by officers from the same police station that gunned down a young man, which sparked unrest. Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, also commented on the situation.
Indeed, very, very unfortunate. I think straightforward enough. Your prayers are straightforward. We'll just put the question.
And now bringing you more stories, the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra, that is the MASSOB, MASSOB, advised federal government to allow the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, that is the IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, access his personal physicians for medical attention. Kanu has been attended his court trials from the facility of the Directorate of State Service, that is the DSS, where he had been detained since his arrest. His counsels had raised the alarm over his deteriorating health, fueling calls by well-meaning Nigerians and human rights organizations on federal government to allow him access to his physicians. A statement by the leader of the MASSOB, Uchenna Madu, stated that the people of Biafra will never forgive President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government if Kanu dies in DSS detention. The pro-Biafra group condemned the insensitivity and carelessness of federal government on the deteriorating health of Kanu. Bringing you more stories, the Imo State Police Command on Wednesday paraded a wanted army deserter, Chinwendu Nwangu, aka Onyami. The spokesperson for the command, Michael Abatam, disclosed that Nwangu, who deserted the army after 8 years of service, had committed more atrocities. Abatam said after years of surveillance, the suspect was arrested during his father's funeral in the Abo Mbese local government area of the state.
They were on surveillance. Immediately they sighted the police. They engaged them. In the exchange of fire, 2 of the hoodlums were injured fatally.
Abatam noted that amazingly, the suspects did not sustain any bullet injury. This he attributed to the charms worn all over his body he called Odeshi, meaning native bulletproof. Nwangu was alleged to have confessed to training over 1,000 ESN members in weaponry and terror attacks, and confessed to have led attacks on security officers, police stations, and officers of the Independent National Electoral Commission, that is the INEC. The suspect also allegedly narrated how on May 30, 2021, his gang murdered Ahmed Gulak, the former political leader from other parts of West Africa. Don't go away. Full time to have you back. This is Africa Today on Hills TV. In Ghana's capital, Accra, young men and women in Pink Floyd have given fresh life to Western clothing waste. The vintage gala, as 23-year-old founders Prince Quist and James Edem Do Darty dubbed it, brought together an industry by encouraging their peers to shop secondhand. Still in the news, Quist said, seated in front of a booth for his online shop, wearing clothes that were made back in the day helps the environment by not using the raw materials and other things needed to make new ones. Darty added that the idea is just to inspire everyone to thrift vintage because second-hand goods aren't second-class stuff, adding that shopping vintage makes recycling even better. Reports show that Ghana receives around 15 million items of used clothing each week from Western countries, offloaded in bulk, with garments wrapped up inside. Fashion enthusiasts like Quist and Darty believe that buying secondhand not only helps to reduce fashion's environmental impact, but also allows them and their customers to express unique styles apart from current trends. And now let's take you to Ivory Coast and have you know that a court in Ivory Coast handed down life terms to 4 men convicted of abetting a jihadist attack on a resort that left 19 people dead. The court in Abidjan, the country's commercial hub, found that 4 guilty of the deeds for which they are accused, and Charles Binney announced the March 13, 2016 assault was the first jihadist attack in Ivory Coast, one of West Africa's economic powerhouses. 3 men wielding assault rifles stormed the beach at Grand Bassam, a resort town 40 kilometers, that is 25 miles east of Abidjan, popular with Europeans, before attacking hotels and restaurants. The 45-minute bloodbath ended when Ivorian security forces shot dead the 3 attackers. And now let's quickly move away from this and bring you more stories from other parts of Africa, having 24 causing a leak and an explosion which badly damaged a nearby hospital. Meanwhile, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa said his thoughts were with the family and friends of the victims to deploy a joint regional force that includes forces from Kenya, Burundi, and Uganda. At a ceremony in the capital, Juba, South Sudanese President Salva Kiir urged soldiers to keep the order, and the deployment came back to thousands of fighters, including former rebels loyal to Kiir and his rival Vice President Riek Machar, were integrated into South Sudan's army, a key condition of a peace deal to end the country's brutal civil war. Somalia's Defense Minister Hassan Mohamed Maradambe has announced the return of the first batch of 5,000 Somali troops sent to train in Eritrea. It is also from the group in some regions of the country. Even though President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud visited the troops in Eritrea last July, their return is set to end months of worry among families who feared they might have been recruited under false pretense. And now let's go on a short break and bring you business news right about now. Don't go away. A refreshing moment today is to bring the business desk in Abuja airports to reduce bottlenecks and underutilization of assets in the sector. The 2 facilities, especially Lagos domestic terminals, where almost all airlines start load passengers facilitation during the morning peak periods, with craft. Besides the Murtala Mohammed Airport 2, that is the MMA2 terminal that has multiple boarding gates, the General Aviation Terminal, that is the GAT used by Air Peace, Arik Air, Green Africa, among others, has only 2 gates. It was earlier reported that a gross underutilization of commercial airplanes in the country cost local carriers as much as 4.3 billion naira per plane yearly. The conservative estimate made by airline operators was identified as one of the reasons local carriers perpetually struggle and are always on the verge of collapse. However, the chairman Westlake available infrastructure to meet their growing needs. And now to yet another story. After an 18-month-long shutdown, Ethiopian Airlines have resumed commercial flights to and from Mekelle, the city of the Tigray region, on Wednesday. Families rejoice as they are finally reunited with their loved ones after the 2-year-long conjunction, depending on the need. The reintroduction of flights to and from McKinley is one of the many first steps towards peace in the region.